Hello everyone, welcome to JS Gigs and my name is Deepak. Here in this tutorial, I'm going to be talking about another important aspect, right? So what is that? So far we have spoken about how the application would essentially look in case if you try to do a white labeling. And in that we had created multiple variables and variables we had created inside the brand. So this is the brand Deepak and the next is the brand default. So here you may have noticed that we've created variables to create multiple themes, and then from the single code base and by just keeping the styles different, we were able to generate two different builds. Okay, and we were able to launch two different applications. Now in this tutorial what I'm going to talk about is essentially the theming, right? And also a little bit about a very little about the white labeling. So if I take your attention to the default configuration and the Deepak configuration that we had done in the previous tutorial, you may notice that here in case of a line number 79, which is a Deepak config, we have kept it as a deep purple hyphen amber. And if you look further up, the line number 61, you may notice that the default config also refers to deep purple hyphen amber, right? But then essentially we need to keep this different, right? So how do we do that? It's essentially going to be same. So I'll take you to the Chrome, and then from the Chrome, I'll take you here. So you can define your own themes, and that's something which is available right over here, right? So from here, the documentation, you can go to the theme part or you can go to the components. And from here, you can choose whatever you like, right? So currently I have chosen something, the Azure blue, and there is something that um, magenta black also you can choose, right? So how do we do that? It's fairly simple. So we'll go to the CDK, or rather go to the guides, and then theming your components here. And if you go further down here, notice that multiple theme options are available. And in case if you want to create a different query, you can definitely come over here, read about it, and can create your own create your own recipe and create your own theming, right? So what I'm going to do is, like, I'll just take you to the Angular JSON once again, and from there I will try to build a new theme in a different. I'll try to create a new theme for the default and a different theme for Deepak. So let me take you to the code here, and in the code, currently it's a deep purple. So let me come over here. It says Angular material pre-built themes. So here is the Angular, and further down you have material, and then pre-built theme. So pre-built themes over here, and then you can see that there are 4 or 5 different themes, or essentially 4 different themes are available to choose from, which is deep purple hyphen amber, indigo pink, pink blue gray, and purple green, right? So what I'm going to do is, like, I'll just choose probably the indigo pink, or let's say pink blue gray, right? And then I'm going to be sharing this. I'll wait for a second, and after that I'll try to run this. The default config application will show how it really looks when it renders. All right, so let me now try to run this. So I've changed it for the default config, and for the default config I'll just have to do npm run start, and once it builds up I'll take you to the Chrome browser and show you how it really looks. So let me take Chrome browser, and there you go. Now you can see that, that's how it appears, and it looks a little different though. So I think that's something which is not suiting up very well. So let me change it to something else. I'll take it to the code again, and instead of this deep purple or pink blue gray, I'm going to be taking up something else. So let me try to see what I can choose. Let me take indigo pink. And in order to take this in effect, I'll have to restart my system, because essentially I'm making a change in the angular.json, which is not really something that gets monitored by default. So you will have to basically do something else in order to get this fixed. All right, let me take you to the Chrome browser. And here in the Chrome browser, I can see that it looks okay. Let me just log in here. And you may notice that it looks different. It doesn't really have the same theming. Now let me take you to the code again and try to run the debug config. So start, gonna do this, because in the package JSON I've chosen start debug to take debug config for into consideration. So I'm just gonna be running it now and let it compile, and I'll take you back to. Now you may notice that this particular thing looks a lot different, right? So it's a different theme. So it looks a lot similar because the color combination is pretty near, pretty close, but then they're actually not identical, right? So I'll show that again. So in order to show you, I'll have to take you back to the Chrome, and there in the Chrome now you can see that I've started the debug config, and just gonna write down something over here. Press login. Now you can see that it was all purple color theme, which is coming over here, right? So you can see here, here as well. And if you just log in here also, you can see that it is a lot different, right? So it is not really blue colorish. It's a slightly different one. So I'll show you once again probably, and I'm in the background, I'm starting my application for the default config, and then immediately after that loads up, you would see that this page would change. And now you can see that it is not exactly same. It is a bluish color theme that comes here when you do that, right? You see that the cancel color has come as pink. Otherwise, it used to come as yellow in the previous theme, right? Let me take you here. And I think that that's pretty much it for this portion of the tutorial where wherever I spoke to you about the white labeling. Now in the next part, I'm going to be talking about the theme, which is the dark and the light and the other things, how you can really achieve that, right? So I'll again take you to the login page, and in order to implement that particular theme, I'll take you to the material page first, and from here we'll try to implement the dark and the light theme. All right, so now I'm going to be taking you to my code. So there is a slight change though, and the change is that I've upgraded my Angular material to 18 to 12, which is currently the latest version of Angular material. All right, so this part I'm going to be focusing on the theming thing, right? So how do we do theming? So let me just go up right here and close everything down. Please note that just a moment ago I was also looking at some of the other resources available online as to how to do theming in material, right? So I can if there is a suggestion for all of you, please do read the official documentation of Angular material. There you would be able to see exactly what needs to be done in order to receive or in order to do the theming right. Yeah. So I'll quickly take you to my Chrome browser, and there I've opened the theming Angular material documentation over here. So here you can see that it talks about all of these things such as custom theme with sauce, and what are the mixins available here, and how do we do theming and things like that, right? So please do read this. I'm going to be touching upon some portion of it a little bit, and then I'm going to be focusing only on the theming part for the material application that we have built all along, and that's how we will move, right? So now you see that currently it only works with single theme, as in like whatever I choose, it just works like that, right? So it doesn't really have any dark or a light mode available here. So what I'm going to do from the first is that I'm going to be putting a button over here, right, just next to student's name, which will tell me to switch the themes between the what original theme is and then moving to dark and then coming back. right? So it's essentially a toggle button. So in order to have a toggle button, what I'm going to do is like I'm just going to be opening the Angular material first. So here is the documentation of it. So what I'm going to do is like I'll probably choose a toggle button. So where is the toggle? So here's the button toggle. Yeah, dark and light. I think this is right to do, right? So I'm going to be importing this. Let me just quickly do the code for this. I'll take you back to the code, and the component which has all of these available is mat is the dashboard component. With the dashboard component, we render all these three, right? And then we're basis whatever we choose. What I'm going to do is like I'll just put this tab, this material thing, right? And I'm not going to be really putting it elsewhere. And then I'll see how it appears. And then if I take you back to the Chrome browser of mine, now you can see that this theme thing, yeah, right? And it is not common. It is only available under the view student, and it changes, right? So now I'm going to be writing code which will power, how do we do the thing right in Angular material, right? So in order to do that, I'll take you back to the code. So please note, I have I'm going to be implementing this particular piece in Angular 18. So you will not really find many examples out there at this moment. So what I'm going to do is like I'll just put the theming right, and I'll do the write this code, and then we write some part of Angular code as well in order to do the theme, right? So please stay along, and we'll do that now, right? So here, why have I taken you here is because this theming part, as we had also seen while doing the white labeling, the SCSS comes way handy when you do any such thing or do manipulation with your CSS, right? So before I explain anything, let me take you to the Chrome browser. At the Chrome browser, you may notice, like if I take you to the theming material part, as I was also talking about a moment ago, that here it tells you like how exactly you can define. So what we really need to do is to first of all the dark theme would really look like, right? And post we apply the dark theme application, right? So here you may notice that if you look at this particular section, it is applying a theme to a component. And you may notice that it defines a particular variable, and then from that it puts it here, right? The code theme or button theme. But also there is this thing called all component. So let's say if you wish to define a light theme, you can probably define it in the manner in which it is highlighted here on my screen right now. And once you define it, you just all you need to do is just come to the HTML, include this, and do the my theme, and it will work, right? So in our case, we are going to be doing the dark theme. So how are we going to be doing the dark theme? Now back to the code of mine, and here do is like firstly, it is pretty much similar to how it is defined in the material website. I'm going to be writing the first line of code, which is use, and I'm going to be importing the Angular material here. Right, so now I'm going to do is like I'll just include the material core. We do it is come core, right? And once I do this, I'm also going to be defining the dark theme. So in order to do that, right? So here you notice that I have a defined theme mixin, theme profile, all of this, and then that is going to be palette. This is just for an example, ladies and gentlemen. In case if you want to get more sophisticated and a different version, you're most welcome to do so. I'm just showing you the basic one. You are all free to probably write down in the comment section below, and if you need any specific example, I'm just going to be covering the basics at this moment. So once you do this, we've already defined it. Now we get this particular variable has to be used in case of a dark theme, right? So how do we define it? So let's say dark theme. So this is going to have a dark theme class, and this particular theme class is going to use the dark theme variable which is defined as 8, and it is going to be importing it for all the component themes. So all the component themes, yes. Let me take you back to the Chrome browser, and here at the Chrome browser, what I'm gonna do is like I'll just this entry right there and see how it works. So what essentially we have created a particular class which is dark theme, and whenever I apply this dark theme on the body part, changes it brings in my component, right? So if I come here, do the class, and once I do the class, I'm going to be putting, let's say, dark. Now you may notice that the moment I apply dark theme, everything dark. Here also the form has clearly become dark, and here as well the condition is same. Although there is a slight change, which is like whenever I'm doing a dark or a light, everything else remains same on this component which is defined with the material is changing, right? So we also need to change his background, right? That's something we are going to be doing through program. And you can see that again, if I apply or remove the dark theme, it changes the color of. We're pretty much done the halfway. Back to the code of mine. There we are going to be doing this. I believe really needed. Will do the job, right? So here are the dashboard. What I'm going to do is like I'm there are dark default clicked. So what I'm going to do is like I'll just moving it, which is the dark theme. Just bind the click event here. Okay, so I have created two functions here. What I'm going to do is like on by the time I click default, I want that class to be removed, right? So, and also please note that I'm going to be putting this class in the body element, right? So I'm going to be writing some code, and this is, please note that this is an exception code here because we need to set the class in the body level element, right? We don't really want it to put this class elsewhere. So I'm going to be writing the plain JavaScript code here. It's not, I'm not going to be making use of a renderer because I need to put this class at the body level, right? So, all right. So what I'm going to do is like, I'm just going to be putting the class name here. So document dot body, or rather, let me get the element first. Body, and then I'm going to be obviously picking up the first one because there's just going to be one body in the entire document, and then I'm going to be putting the class name. Since I have already created a base class which is a dark class, I've not really created anything else, so in that case I'm just going to be putting the class name as empty. And in case of a dark theme, I'm going to be putting the class name which is dark hyphen theme, right? And yep, that's pretty much it. So now what I'm going to do is like I'll just take you back to the Chrome browser of mine, and from there I'll show you how it works. So here is a Chrome browser, right? So I'll go inside the component, and here, there you go. You can see that I am able to flip between the dark and the light theme, and it works pretty well, right? So now what I'm going to do is like you may also notice that I don't really have any color available for all of these, right? So I also need to put a background color, right? So let's say, so in case of a dark theme, I'm going to be putting a background color as this, or maybe a darker shade probably. So let's just say, and I think I also need the font color, right? So I'm going to be making 000, and then I'm going to be putting up the other colors, right? So let me take you back to the code, and here the code of the styles. I'm going to be putting the background color as black in case of a dark theme, and then I'm going to be putting the font color which is defined by color as hash, right, which is absolute white. Now just compile this bit, and I'll now take you back to the browser. So here, just do a refresh, and I do anything here just to log in. And once I log in, yep, looks like the font color is not taking up. All right, so now you can see that the apparently the view student and the tab right at the top is not really taking effect of all these classes that we have been applying all that while, right? So in order to achieve this, we have already defined the class. Now let me define, or let me correct things here as well, right? So mat tab is the one, and then if you look at these three tabs where the mat tab is defined, we also need to define the class, right, or the theme class, right? So what I'm going to do is, like, I'll define the ng class. So here the dark theme applies onto the ng class only when some condition needs to be true. So in order to do that, we will also put this thing, let's say theme, and we'll create a variable. So in order to do this, let me just open them in parallel. I'll open this here. I'll try to create a variable. By default, it has to be default. Let's say if theme is not equals to default, that's when it will put the dark theme as true. And ng class is not recognized. In order to do this, we'll have to put the common module right here. So put this here. And in case if I am doing the default theme, so I'm going to be putting this, making this as, and otherwise I'm going to be making this as dark, right? And then the dark theme will apply only when this theme is true, right? So now let me take you back to the Chrome browser and try to log in here and see if that works. There you go. Now you can see that the dark and the light theme applies properly. All it does is that the moment you switch to the dark theme, everything else becomes the light color thing, and then the font and everything else changes. However, if you do the default theme, which is light theme, everything else changes its color and it remains good. So that's all, ladies and gentlemen, about the theming and the white labeling. There's another thing that I want to bring your attention to, is that I've currently used Angular material. All right. Let's say in case if you don't use Angular material, and if you want to use something, some other framework, so you can certainly go through the documentation and they'll give you the deep insight of, what is really needed in order to implement the theming. But in case if you are not across this, there is always an easier way, which is to basically define the variables the way I have defined it in my in my underscore variable of the branding thing under the styles folder. But then you can define that the dark and the light theme here, and then you can create a different combination of it, right? So that's something which is very much doable, and then you will be you can create a lot of different combination using the CSS and SCSS by creating dark light theme or whatever you will wish to. In case if you have any particular or a specific question, please do write down in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to help. This is all about the theming, ladies and gentlemen, and I think I want to put this course at rest now. This was the last section of the theming and white labeling. Please do write down in the comment section below if you feel that there is any specific topic you want me to cover about the theming and white labeling, and I'll be more than happy to create a separate video tutorial around it. And if you're liking my work, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And please note, from November 19th onwards, I'm going to be creating a brand new series on Angular 19. Angular 19 is getting released on 19th of November 2024. So stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not really subscribed to my channel, please do so, and also hit the bell icon in case if I post a new video, you would be notified. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to be seeing you pretty soon in the Angular 19 brand new series, which I'm going to be starting from 19th of November 2024. So thank you once again for watching all that, and I'm going to be seeing you soon. Bye bye.